All right, we are recording now. So, how's it going? Everyone who's coming in, welcome. So this is our first try with this sort of like hybrid between the Fireside Chats that we kind of do with Everflow Connect, and then having just like a nice sort of semi-conference experience with a virtual happy hour. Try and relive the days when we could actually drink together and have fun at these events. So that's sort of the plan. So the first 30 minutes or so are going to be dedicated to the Fireside Chat. And then after that, everyone should grab a drink and come hop on a table and chat together. So just to kick it off, Adam, can you give yourself a quick introduction, where you're at, what you do, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it, Michael. My name is Adam Kottler. I'm a partnership executive at UpSellit. We're based in Los Angeles, California. We've been around since 2005, so this is actually our 15th year in business.
Awesome. And how are things down in LA in terms of like coronavirus? Are people going outside? Are people wearing masks?
It's felt a little bit like one step forward, two steps backward. I think they opened up restaurants last Friday, and then I think by Monday they closed them back down. So cases are surging. It's just the reality of the situation that we're dealing with. I think we're no longer welcome in the state of New York either, because they're doing a little bit better than we are these days. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting time. As you can see, I'm working from my lovely home office here. I certainly miss being around my colleagues and having somewhere to go every day. But it's an adjustment, and yes, I have my masks. Thanks to this Fireside Chat, I got my first haircut in about 4 months.
Nice.
So that definitely felt good, and I probably got in just in the nick of time, because who knows how much longer the salons will be open.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe I thought California would hopefully be spared from another spike, but it's been insane. And just like knowing that like Europe now has like their list of countries it can visit, and it's got Rwanda and China, but it doesn't have the US. There's something a little sad about that.
Oh, absolutely. It's funny. I actually recently started working with a European airline. And,
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And so it's interesting. We can talk maybe a little bit more about when we talk about different verticals and the way they've been impacted. But it is sad when I get on the phone with them that, yes, we can work together and we can help them, drive additional bookings, just not from us here in America.
Cool. So let's kick this off. Can you tell me a little bit about what UpSellit does?
Absolutely. So UpSellit works a little bit differently than a traditional publisher in the affiliate space. Rather than focusing on driving traffic to the site, UpSellit's focus is on increasing conversions, increasing order values, or capturing lead information from more of that traffic. So, if you think about the funnel, you can pour more into the top of the funnel, which would be your traditional publisher approach of driving traffic to a site, or you can focus on tightening up those gaps in the funnel. And that's where UpSellit provides custom technology solutions to provide on-site personalization experiences, cart abandonment engagements, email remarketing, different strategies to monetize more of that traffic that you're already paying for.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I was really excited to do this Fireside Chat today is like, I think that UpSellit's in a very unique space because, I mean, you've been in like the performance industry for like as a company for over a decade now, and you were at the forefront of like what was exciting in affiliate marketing, and you've continued to evolve as you go along, which means that you have a much bigger like long-term picture of like how the industry has grown and changed and what stayed the same, what works and what doesn't. So I'm glad that you could be here today, and we can have this conversation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Really appreciate the invitation, and happy to be here.
So I'd love to know the origin of like UpSellit. Like, how did you guys get started and see like your initial success?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of an interesting story. Our founder, CEO, he's also kind of he's our CTO as well. He was at Berkeley studying computer science, specifically focused in machine learning and AI. And so for his senior project, he actually built an AI chatbot and he put it on a dating site. And his goal was to see how well he could convince his friends that they were actually talking to a potential companion as opposed to an AI chatbot. So he's always had an interest in the interplay between technology and human behavior and understanding how we can leverage technology, leverage AI and machine learning to provide more personalized experiences online. That really led to the inception of UpSellit. When UpSellit got its start, he leveraged that experience that he had in school to build out, AI chat communication for brands to leverage on site. Since then, we've expanded quite a bit. We still do offer chat solutions, but it's become much more about in real time reconfiguring that site, providing dynamic messaging and a dynamic experience for that visitor based on all of those different data points and behaviors about that visitor that we can pull in to ultimately motivate whatever it is that desired outcome is, whether it's providing lead information or usually driving a conversion.
Awesome. And as I mentioned earlier, I think one of the most exciting thing about UpSellit is that unlike a lot of the SaaS solutions out there, you do everything on a performance model. Can you talk a little bit about that and sort of how it helps with your early success?
Yeah, absolutely. So, there are a lot of technology and conversion rate optimization solutions out there, but they typically work in a more traditional SaaS model with a flat fee structure. And you're really leaving it on the advertiser at that point to make a big upfront investment and hope that they see the results to generate the ROI to make it a positive investment. UpSellit was able to draw on all of the data that we have to know that we could come in and offer to work purely on a CPA basis, on a performance basis through their existing affiliate program with no upfront costs. And based on what we know historically about the results we're going to be able to drive, we make that initial investment. We take on that risk of we'll do all of the design, the copywriting, the development of those engagements, knowing that over time we're going to recoup that initial upfront investment that we're making on that CPA model. So it's virtually no risk on the part of the merchant, and we're able to show our value by virtue of those incremental conversions that we're driving.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about your relationship to affiliate marketing and programs?
Yeah, absolutely. So we really run the gamut. We work with all of the major networks, of course, but we see a lot of merchants moving more toward tracking platforms. Especially now as budgets are becoming a little bit tighter. They're always looking for lower cost ways to still work with publishers on a performance basis. So we've had a lot of success lately, in working through either in-house programs or programs administered through a tracking platform, as well as our traditional partners at the networks.
Awesome. And sort of how has that performance marketing, affiliate marketing, how have you been seeing it changing, especially recently with COVID and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. The nice thing about the affiliate space is it hit maybe not as hard as a lot of the other marketing channels. So what we've seen with our advertisers is maybe there's been some changes in terms of the commissioning terms and things like that, but they really haven't shuttered their performance marketing divisions the way they have maybe some of their other content marketing areas, because working on that performance basis, again, they're only paying for the results that are being driven. So, we've been fortunate to operate in that space. Going back to your previous question, how does that differentiate from those other SaaS providers? Well, those other SaaS providers might be drawing from an area of that marketing budget that's seeing some significant cuts, but by coming in on a performance basis, we're able to avoid that. We're not asking for any upfront money, and we're really able to, just keep everybody happy by virtue of driving a positive ROI for the the advertiser as well as being able to recoup our costs in that model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always nice to be on the performance side when there's a downturn, as we are the safest in a crazy time, and it's comforting for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I work obviously with a lot of affiliate managers, and it's amazing that sometimes they have to make the case because sometimes they pay the price for budget cuts that are have nothing to do with them, an overall cut to the marketing budget, and sometimes they'll even pull us into that conversation to explain that no, this is where that investment should be reallocated right now. When times are tough, shift to a performance model where you're really only paying for the results that you're getting.
Yeah, definitely. And it's sort of been one of the things that, like, from the market Everflow, we've been, I think, combining that with like my experience doing like affiliate management, I've been trying to tell that story. Like, there's a big challenge when you're an affiliate manager at any company of assigning credit, because whoever does paid marketing wants to take credit for anything that comes through paid marketing, and they don't want to share credit with any of your affiliates or your performance solutions, etc. So I think that one of the things that Everflow does best is the ability to track everything in one place, because if you can actually see your affiliate performance versus your influencer performance versus your Facebook ads in Google, and see like not only the purchases but also the engagement events around that, you get a much better picture of like what's performing. Because a lot of times paid ads are really good at driving sales and immediate ROI, but that's it. There's no trust. There's no like lasting relationship. Whereas something like an affiliate, like a content site or loyalty, or even in your case, like you're building that lasting relationship where they have trust in the brand, and that has a lot longer ROI impact, even if it's not going to drive as many sales today as just throwing money at a problem. So I think that it's been something that we've a constant challenge to figure out like what is the best way to tell that story, because I know that pain point really well.
Well, absolutely, and that's where you do have to start looking at things like lifetime value. If you're able to build a real relationship with that customer, if it's not such a transactional experience, like they saw a specific product advertised in a paid platform, came through and were in and out of the site quickly, versus perhaps in a content-based affiliate site where they've really built some equity and trust with that brand, you're going to see that reflected in the lifetime value of that customer.
Great. So just to go back, so say a brand wants to work with you, what does that like process look like? Like, what size should the client be in terms of like the e-commerce brand, and sort of like what actually happens to work with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So of course, since we're working on a performance basis, we need to make sure that that site is getting enough traffic for us to have enough visitors to engage with to drive the number of conversions we need to essentially recoup our investment. So we're typically looking for a brand to be doing around 100,000 monthly unique visitors. Of course, depending on their conversion rate, that's going to, there's some variability there. And then another way to look at it is we're typically looking for them to be doing between 80 and 100 sales a day across all channels.
And then like, once they're a good fit, like what is the process to actually work with you? Like, what do they need to prepare? What needs to happen for you to actually like be set up to help them like get higher conversion rates?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really easy process. Of course, we'll get on that initial call. We'll share some strategies that we've seen effective for similar advertisers. Because we have been doing this for 15 years, we work with over 3,000 brands in 30 different countries. We have a lot of experience to draw on, and typically we can find a similar advertiser, or we're aware of other strategies that have worked well for similar advertisers that we can share. We're going to go through that site together with that merchant and make recommendations and say, here's where I would suggest we get started. At that point, in terms of what's involved for the advertiser, all that advertiser needs to do is place the UpSellit tag on the site. We take care of everything else. So our copywriting and design teams will build out mock-ups of what these engagements would look like and provide those over for either approval, or if there's tweaks and changes that their own design team wants to make, of course, they're welcome to. And then at that point, we'll go ahead and push it into development. We do all of the development, the QA, We do give the client the opportunity to test the engagement on the site before it's actually live to their shoppers. And then all they have to do at that point is provide their approval, say looks good, and we're off and running with the test.
That's awesome, especially since they're taking so much lower risk to do this, and you guys are putting so much of the work in.
Exactly, and that's where it's really important to put that that time in on the front end to really for us to get to know that brand, because like you mentioned, we are taking that risk. We're making that upfront investment in the design, the development of those engagements. So we really need to understand: are we going to be able to show the lift? Not only to keep the advertiser happy, but of course for us to offset the costs and the investment that we're making up front.
Yeah, and I know that you guys do a ton of different things for like improving conversion rates, but say if you just set up like one single solution, like you had only one piece of upsell that you could do, like which one would you start with as like, this is the best way to drive performance for an e-commerce brand?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on-site engagements always seem to convert the best. I'll give you a couple examples that I always found interesting. One thing that we see on a lot of e-commerce sites is they'll have an existing promotion with some kind of threshold. The most common example is free shipping if you spend over X dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody's going through the process and they've added an item to their cart and they're on the fence and they go to abandon the page, we'll engage them with dynamic messaging saying, hey, wait, you're only $5 away from qualifying for free shipping. And we'll pair that with our AI product recommendation engine, where we'll pull in recommended products based on that shopper's behavior, as well as the behavior of similar shoppers that are going to essentially tip them over that threshold. We've done a lot of testing, between, $5 off or 5% off and something like free shipping. Free shipping is just so attractive to shoppers because people hate paying for shipping. You're essentially paying for nothing. So, if I'm going to spend $8 in shipping, or I can spend another $15 and get an additional product, it's really a win for that consumer. So that has, kind of two positive effects. The first being that we're going to keep that shopper on the site and we're ultimately going to drive a conversion, but we've now also increased the order value just by making them more aware of a promotion that already existed on site and tying it to what they've already expressed interest in, reiterating, hey, you've already added this item to your cart, you're now only this far away from qualifying, here are some other recommendations. So that's a really effective strategy for us. One of the more interesting ones that we've done is we work with a large chain of airport parking lots. And so people go on to reserve their airport parking, and we capture everything from, geographic location of the visitor. We can pull in external data as well, such as weather information. So we actually ran an upsell campaign where we detected if there was going to be inclement weather in the location they were reserving that airport parking. At the point of checkout, we would say, hey, don't get caught out in the rain when you return from your trip to Phoenix. Upgrade to covered parking for only an additional $10. So there's a lot of ways to get creative, pull in those external data points to create really targeted messaging on site to drive, either increased order values or prevent abandonment and increase conversion rates.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to explore a little bit about that. So just for explanatory context before we go into this, one thing you should know about affiliate marketing is that there's kind of a side you have to face no matter what, which is that coupon sites are such a large driver of affiliate business. So if you think of almost any like e-commerce type affiliate marketing brand, a large percentage of people will, right before they purchase, go grab a coupon. Every single coupon site you see is a affiliate. And the way affiliate programs work is it's last click attribution typically. So as soon as they get to that coupon site, that coupon site is now taking credit from whatever was delivering it before. Now the coupon site is saying they sent that sale and the purchase happens. So I know, Adam, you were mentioning that you see a lot of effectiveness with like get free shipping over a certain average order value. How do you deal with the fact that like a lot of consumers, when they see that, they're going to immediately start looking for coupons that can overwrite your credit?
Yeah, and it is a barrier. When people land on that checkout page and they see that empty promo code box, the implication as a shopper is I'm not getting the best deal. If there's an empty promo code box, it means there's a promo code out there somewhere that, that I'm going to want to go find. And as you mentioned, you run into issues of cannibalization there, right? How many of those now affiliate sales are truly incremental? One of the ways around that, of course, is at the point that we detect somebody's about to bounce to go look for that external coupon, we can offer them some kind of incentive, right then and there. So instead of now them leaving the site and hopefully coming back or potentially finding a better deal at another site or a better incentive, we want to make sure that they see an incentive on that site at the point of abandonment. Now we've populated that promo code field. They see they've gotten a discount. And they're more likely to go through the conversion process. Because that's something else we don't talk about a lot, but with those coupon sites, when they are bouncing to find a coupon for that site, they're also seeing all kinds of deals for competitor sites. And so there's going to be some leakage there between those people that, might have converted otherwise, but now they're exposed to the competition. So everything that we can do to keep that visitor on site to prevent that abandonment event, even if it is just to look for a coupon, that's really a win for the advertiser.
Yeah, and when you say we detect when they're about to abandon, what are you actually looking for that lets you know that?
Yeah, great question. So over the last 15 years, we've had the opportunity to really refine our abandonment technology. We're looking at everything from mouse trajectory, mouse speed, time, in different areas of the site. So I'll give you some examples because, one of the, when we talk about cannibalization, we also want to make sure we're not over-engaging. It's a bad user experience. And we're also essentially taking credit for sales, from shoppers that may have continued down the path to purchase anyway. So by tracking all of those different data points, we suppress, for example, if you leave your mouse idle on the screen, it disappears, right? Mm-hmm. So what do people do? They move it around erratically. Because of those trajectory and speed constraints, as it traverses different zones of the site, we detect, that's not a true abandonment event, and we would suppress in that instance. Another interesting one for us is we pull in the device specifics. And we know that on a PC-based device, the back button and the close window button are on opposite sides of the page. Mm-hmm. So if we detect that a visitor is navigating toward the back button to back up to just a different page on that domain, maybe they want to look at additional products, we're going to suppress in that instance. We know that's not a true abandonment event. Whereas if we detect they're on a Mac-based browser, we know the close window button and the back button are in the same place. In that case, we would engage. One more just interesting example of the sophistication of abandonment technology is, let's say it's a high-ticket item, and the person needs to open up a new tab and just check their available funds and make sure they can complete this purchase. We have things like smart tab detection. So if they open up that tab and then bounce back to the site, we're not going to engage them with our engagement in that case as well. So there's a lot of different ways that and steps that we take to ensure that the abandonment events that we're reporting are only the true abandonment events.
Yeah, that's awesome. And one other thing I want to mention about coupons is just that if you're dealing with a lot of affiliates or influencers, you have to build your program in a structured way to address coupon sites and work with, because they're tricky on a lot of things. A, they drive a ton of sales, so they make you look really good if you're an affiliate manager. And B, the other thing is that some coupon sites provide a ton of value. So the way that we recommend with Everflow is we have this report called the click-to-conversion time report, which is from the time that the user clicked on the ad to the time that they purchased from the e-commerce site. And what's cool about that is you can set this up either to be automated through alerts, actually take action automatically through Smart Switch, or just look at the click-to-conversion time reporting to look. But say if you see a partner who's consistently driving sales where the click-to-conversion time is, say, under 30 seconds, no shopping experience can purchase within 30 seconds. So there's something suspicious there that you should at least be talking with your partner to learn more about, to see how they're promoting, et cetera, because you want to make sure that they're not taking credit for stuff that, say, a content site or UpSellit would have been delivering for you, and they're just taking credit for that because they took that last click attribution. But the other thing to keep in mind is that a lot of the coupon sites also have a huge loyalty component. So if you think of like an Ebates or like a Brad Steels, they have their own huge follower base that is always looking for deals. So there's a big difference if like 10% of their sales are coming in under 30 seconds, but then 95% of their sales or whatever are coming in at like a normal time, then you know like they're providing far more value than they're taking from your organics or from your other affiliates. And so you always just need to build this into your program strategy.
Absolutely, and I think that's a great tool because I know in my conversations with affiliate managers, a lot of times we're approached because an affiliate manager will be killing it for their brand, and then all of a sudden it comes from up on high, hey, no more coupon or deal sites. We don't want any more coupon or deal sites. And now suddenly that affiliate manager realizes they need to fill that gap somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's where UpSellit's a great way to diversify that portfolio. It's going to be very hard to make up that gap just by sourcing content sites, and that's going to take a lot of effort. But because UpSellit is engaging traffic from all sources, capturing those abandoning leads that are coming in regardless of the originating channel, and those incremental conversions we're driving from those channels now become affiliate sales, we can help make up that gap for maybe some of those coupon or deal sites that are not as attractive. But with Everflow's solution, the other interesting thing is when that directive comes down to say, hey, no more coupon or deal sites, we don't feel they're incremental, now you're armed with some data to say, okay, let me do an audit. I've identified that these may not be effective, but let me show you some stats around, these coupon sites where we see that they are true shoppers. These are not people abandoning right before an organic conversion. And in that case, we very much want to keep them in play. So I think that's a huge benefit to an affiliate manager as there is increasing pressure, especially with the current situation and the tightening of marketing budgets to kind of go through a little bit more closely and audit, those publishers they're working with.
Yeah, I want to highlight something you mentioned there, which is just that, especially if you're an affiliate manager or agency, you need to have a constant stream of really cool affiliates to tell your boss about, to get them excited about the affiliate program, which is why things like UpSellit are perfect, because it's something that isn't another coupon site that you can brag to your boss and be like, look, we're delivering value that you could not have gotten outside the affiliate channel, and never discount how important it is to have access to those types of like partners.
Yeah, absolutely. As it relates to the current situation, there's a lot of opportunity as well. We see one of the other effects of COVID that we haven't really talked about a lot is disruptions to the supply chain. So very popular products that are still driving a lot of clicks, a lot of traffic coming to the site, and then they get to the site and the product is out of stock, shipping is delayed, things like that. We've had a lot of success engaging those visitors when they hit that product page with something like a lead capture and the offer to let them know, hey, we'll notify you by email as soon as this product is back in stock. We'll then capture an email, and UpSellit actually does all of the email remarketing as well. So once they provide an email there, we'll send them a confirmation. In that confirmation, we'll include recommendations for similar products that might fit their need. And then again, we're also able to detect as soon as that original product is back in stock and engage that visitor with some email remarketing to bring them back to the site. So it's definitely a great way to diversify that program and a great way to kind of cushion a little bit of the blow of some of these logistic impacts that are a result of the current pandemic situation.
Yeah, I recently went through that with like looking for masks because I want to find a cool mask, and like any cool mask, like they tend to be sold out. So that sounds like a super useful feature. So sort of like related to that, like what have you been seeing in terms of like verticals that are either becoming more successful during COVID or at least change radically in an interesting way?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not to be too crass, but adult services have done very well. People are stuck at home and they need a way to occupy their time. But we've also seen a lot of success with traditional e-com, even in the fashion space. Online shopping is a great way to alleviate some boredom. So a lot of people are pretty engaged. Some of the higher end products, we have seen, a slowdown. People are uncertain about the economic situation. So they may be a little more hesitant to make a significant investment in something like maybe a new appliance, other things like that. Although on the flip side, at the beginning of the pandemic, we saw a big surge in our clients that that offer things like refrigerators, appliances, things like that, because we had people buying second fridges to stockpile food in their garage. So, behaviors have really kind of ebbed and flowed with the news cycle. Another interesting one is the travel and hospitality space. So you would think that that would be a really tough area given the pandemic situation, and it is in terms of conversions. But they found that they had a big need for a way to engage visitors because traffic was still coming to these hotel sites, these airline sites. And once they would see that, there's no availability or they're not taking reservations, whatever the case may be, that visitor bounces. And that's, a lost lead. They would have no other way to engage with them. So again, by leveraging some of those lead capture solutions, we're able to help them, at least monetize that traffic some way to be able to remarket to them, once things are operating as normal again. So, it's really about finding the right solution, the right engagement strategy for that, that vertical, and also looking at what has the impact of this pandemic situation been on that specific vertical market.
All right, makes sense. All right, so I think we'll get to our final question, but before I do that, if anyone has anything that they would like to ask, just pop it in the chat or Q&A, and we'll answer it. But I always like to wrap up with the, have you seen anything that you see as sort of like the future of affiliate marketing, like any changes or anything that you think is like significant industry impacts?
Yeah, I mean, it's an ever-evolving space. I think it doesn't get credit as much as maybe it should for a lot of the innovation that occurs in the affiliate space. I mean, you alluded to them earlier, but, these coupon and deal sites, I mean, that, has become a huge factor that every shopper is aware of now. And that of course, all is, born of affiliate. I would say affiliate has not changed. The way it's not changed is bigger than the way it's changed. And that's that, affiliate has always been a relationship-based business. You mentioned it earlier. We love to get together. We love to share ideas and innovate that way. It really is a pretty tightly knit community. And I think that's what draws a lot of us to affiliate in the first place. And I think that's something that really isn't changing. Just long-term trends, of course, it started more with, influencer and content-based. Since then, deal sites have become kind of the newest evolution. But, I look at companies like UpSellit and other technology companies, in that space as well that are really developing some innovative ways to either drive traffic or engage traffic and increase conversions. So, the great thing about affiliate, like you mentioned, is it's pay for performance based. It's such an easy sell internally for for a marketing team because you're really only paying for that positive ROI that you're driving. So it seems to me, and I don't know if you've seen this as well, Michael, on your end, that affiliate has certainly weathered the storm pretty well, despite all the changes that we're seeing.
Yeah, I think it always weathers a storm. Like it was the same with like the last recession and all that too. Like affiliate will always be a consistent revenue driver for companies, which means that there's always a place for it in any marketing stack. And there's a lot of channels that rise and fall with success. But affiliate has definitely like lasted, has proven itself over time in comparison to most of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I would say that, and this is just a constantly evolving thing, but changes in privacy regulations and things like that, those have always had an impact on the way that we market and the way we engage customers. For a while, we were doing quite a bit with Facebook Messenger. There were some changes in the rules and on Facebook's side, and then there's always, government regulations around privacy as well. That have, caused us to change our approach. So, there's things that will work well, and you kind of have to strike while the iron's hot because you never know how long until the rules are going to change on you. And I think we see that pretty much across the board as well.
The good thing that always means that there's new opportunities because there's companies that don't change, and that just means that the companies that do change have a lot more places to grow.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, the last change I've seen, or the last thing I'll share with you is email has always been a dominant channel. It is still a dominant channel, but it's becoming a bit more congested. One of the newest areas we've branched into is SMS remarketing. Being able to collect customers' mobile phone numbers and get them to opt into to remarketing that way. Everybody always has their phone on them. If you can get that buy-in from a customer, it's a great way to stay top of mind with them and kind of rise above maybe some of the clutter that you find in email.
And on that, like, what kind of opt-in rates are you seeing? I don't know if you can share that, but if you can, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the strategy that we're offering. I probably would want to kind of stay away from committing to a specific opt-in rate. But what we do is we try and make it as easy as possible for that visitor to provide that opt-in and provide that phone number. So for example, with our SMS solution, the visitor actually never has to type in their mobile number. If they're on the mobile site, we're going to serve them some type of engagement, maybe 10% off. Once they click on that, we automatically open up the text message application on their phone. We pre-populate the short code they need to send the message to, as well as the opt-in message itself. So all they have to do is click send, and they've now provided their mobile number and opted in to SMS remarketing. So I think it's really about removing as many barriers to entry as possible. And people get hesitant when they're typing their phone number in and sending that off to somebody. If we can provide a more seamless experience, it's a great way to reduce that friction and capture additional opt-ins and additional mobile numbers.
And it's more about the reward than worrying about like just approving stuff you're not sure about. You know exactly why you're approving it. I think that makes perfect sense.
It's all around the messaging. The last thing I'll mention on either mobile or email remarketing, we've all seen most sites have a lead capture on entry. You hit the page and you get served with an offer to provide an email address or a mobile number to save 10%. What we find is the brand really hasn't built any value with that visitor yet. They've just arrived on the page. If we can leverage their behavior on the page and engage them once they're a little bit further down funnel, maybe they've viewed a few different products and now we have some information about what's motivating them. If we can engage them at that point a little bit later down the funnel, we see much better opt-in rates than the traditional, hey, you just got to the site, now we're asking you for an email address.
Yeah, I think someone should explain that to like 90% of the news sites out there, because nothing's more annoying than like reading 2 words and having a pop up like subscribe to this thing that you have no interest in quite yet. So
exactly.
Good advice.
Yeah, build some value for something. It's give and take. It's reciprocity. Yep.
So any final takeaways before we wrap this up?
No, I really appreciate the opportunity. It's always great to get together, even if it's only virtually. I have a feeling we'll be doing a lot more of these events in the near future, but look forward to getting back to business as usual, hopefully sometime next year.
Hopefully sometime. We're all just chomping at the bit to get out of our houses and be free. So thank you so much as well, Adam. I hope everyone that listens